if you think you know what to do, but you're not doing it, then whatever you think you need to do is probably not realistic for you. Welcome to the show where we help you make smart nutrition simple. If you want proven nutrition strategies to help you build a better body and create the energy to show up for your family without overly restrictive and unrealistic dieting, then you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and enjoy this episode. What is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. I am your host, Ben Brown, head coach and owner here at Body Systems. In today's episode, we are doing another Q&A episode. So we have questions submitted from our listeners, from our community members, and I'm excited to be able to break down some of the conventional wisdom for you and perhaps put a little bit of a different spin on things as we do best here at Body Systems. Ultimately, my objective is just to help make some sense of all of the nonsense that's going on in this health and fitness industry with so much information out there, so confusing, so seemingly contradictory that I'm taking my 20 years of in the trenches experience coupled with a couple of master's degrees in exercise and wellness, as well as clinical nutrition, and kind of breaking it all down for you, hopefully in a seemingly simplistic way to really just help you take these principles and be able to apply them to your life in ways that make sense for you. That's our goal here. And so in today's Q&A, we are going through a few different topics. We will discuss some of the common practices that people think that they should be doing, but actually are probably hindering their success. We're going to talk about whether you can still lose weight while drinking alcohol. And now this is, you might know, if you've been listening for any extended period of time, you might know this is one of my favorite topics because I consistently see alcohol being one of the biggest limiting factors in the weight loss equation, despite the fact that I love, my spirits here and there. So we're going to talk about whether you can still lose weight while drinking alcohol and even eating junk food. We're going to talk about if you need to stretch before a workout. And as I mentioned, my master's degree, I wrote a thesis actually in the impact of dynamic stretching on athletic performance. So I'll dig into that a little bit for you, which you might find enlightening. And then we're going to talk about whether or not being sore is a sign of a good workout or not. So all of that in today's episode. So sit tight. We're going to jump right in. Glad to have you here, and hopefully you get a lot out of this episode. What are some of the things that people think they should be doing but actually shouldn't be doing? I think most of what people think they should be doing, they actually shouldn't be doing. And I say that in the context of most people will tell you that they know what to do. Right? I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. And what I would suggest is if you think you know what to do, but you're not doing it, then whatever you think you need to do is probably not realistic for you. You probably think you need to follow some overly restrictive diet. You probably think you need to eliminate certain food groups or carbs in entirety. You probably think you need to be exercising a certain way that likely doesn't fit within your lifestyle right now. You probably think you need to just be more disciplined or use more willpower. And what I would argue is that it's actually none of those that people actually need to do. What we need to do is first determine what's actually realistic for us. Now, I'm not going to argue with the fact that most people need to get uncomfortable, need to actually get committed to the process, and need to follow through with accomplishing what it is that they say that they want. If you come to me and you say, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds over the next, 12 weeks, great. Here's what that is going to take. Now, it's my expectation that you're going to elevate to the level of doing the things that, again, that it takes to be able to do that. And of course, I'll guide you along the way. But it doesn't mean that you need to be miserable through the process. And I think most people feel like it needs to be this overly restrictive, miserable process. And it doesn't. It just doesn't. It needs to be a process where, first and foremost, you acknowledge, again, what it is that you actually want, why it's important to you, how committed you are to actually accomplishing it, and also acknowledging what you're willing to sacrifice throughout the process. Because everyone shows up and they say, well, I want to do this, but I'm not willing to do X, Y, Z, right? I'm not willing to give up my alcohol. I'm not willing to give up Friday night cheat meals. I'm not willing to train 4 days a week. I'm not willing to plan and prepare my meals. I'm not willing to track my calories. In which case, my response is, well, then you're probably not committed enough to the goals that you say that you want. Right? It's as simple as that. We're not magicians. And there is a process at play here. There's a fundamental process for being able to control for calories, for be able to track progress, for training in a way that's going to stimulate lean muscle tissue and fat loss. There's a fundamental process for developing the behaviors and skills that are requisites for becoming the type of person that can support 20 pounds of fat loss. So if you think you're just going to follow a plan or take a pill to facilitate the weight loss without changing any of your lifestyle, then that's a recipe for disaster. You're in for big disappointment with your expectations versus what is actual reality. Can you still lose weight while drinking alcohol or eating junk food? Of course you can. Absolutely, you can lose weight, but it's certainly not the most efficient way to lose weight. And of course, it depends on the person, on their overall health, on how much weight they have to lose, on their existing behaviors, and on and on and on. But it really begs the question of like, how important are the goals that you're trying to accomplish? And so what I think matters most in the context of that question is we want to be able to create a lifestyle, as cliche as that is, around this process. I want you to become the type of person who's committed to accomplishing your goals, who knows very clearly how to accomplish your goals, and who, by virtue of accomplishing those initial goals, continues to move the goalposts further and further and further, knowing and understanding that the more success you have, the more committed you are, the more success you're going to have, and the more possibility that exists for you because you've become that type of person. And so within that is, I think there's plenty of room to have flexibility and freedom. But it truly is acknowledging it as that, of taking ownership over the process and taking responsibility for your nutrition decisions to the degree that, of course, you can have sweets and treats and enjoy alcohol, but make sure that you're doing it in a way that is still, and being honest with yourself, that in a way that's still supporting your personal, professional growth, right? And not using it as a cop-out, not using it as a, well, I deserve this, not using it as a way to enable the progress that you said that you want, but instead saying, to me, these things are worth it. A glass of wine on Friday nights, on a date night, or in a social gathering, in a way where it's not about the wine, it's about the community and the social environment, enjoying a dessert, whatever it looks like for you, as long as you can acknowledge the worth itness for you, I think is the most important thing, as opposed to, well, I can sneak in these Oreo cookies because I still have calories left at the end of the day, and it fits my macros. I think that's a slippery slope and a dangerous position to be in. But instead, like I said, becoming the type of person that enjoys those foods on occasion, but only when they truly feel worth it for the person. And they're not going to overly stress about situations where they're just trying to fit in the sweets that they feel like are off limits. Do you need to stretch before a workout? I don't know that you necessarily need to stretch before a workout, but I would encourage some type of dynamic warm-up. Usually indicative of simply going through the motions of the exercises that you're about to implement. So if I'm doing an upper body workout, then I should be doing some movements that are going to help loosen up the muscle groups that are about to be worked. Now, usually those are the exact same exercises. So if I'm doing a pull-up and a chest press, I might do a couple sets of a pull-down exercise at a lighter weight and progressively increase to the point where I'm ready to do a full pull-up. Similarly, if I'm doing a bench press exercise, as an example, I might do a couple sets of push-ups and then start to warm up with the bar. I'd strongly encourage, and this is what my master's thesis was on, the effects of dynamic warm-ups on athletic performance. And now, to be fair, this was 20 years ago, so I don't know what the research looks like now, but there definitely is a carryover towards specific dynamic warm-ups and improving performance output, whether it's sprint speed, whether it's jump height, explosiveness. And I think this holds true at a much lower level for those of us generally recreational lifters to justify including some aspect of warm-up to literally just get the blood flowing. So kind of some passive warm-up. It might be just walking on the treadmill or riding the bike or doing a slow jog, followed by some more joint-specific exercises to, again, loosen up the tissue, get the brain and the muscles and kind of the nervous system fired up and ready for more intense exercise, and then progressively ramping into whatever those exercises are. One of the things that we try and honor is first and foremost to do no harm here. And especially for those of us that are getting older, there's nothing worse than injuring ourselves in the gym, which sometimes unfortunately comes with the territory, but we want to do our diligence around making sure that we're preparing the body as effectively as possible. And so with that said, one of the worst things that we can do is walk right into the gym, load the weights on the bar, and hit our first set. I think it's created an environment where we're going to be a lot more likely to injure ourselves versus giving ourselves the opportunity to slowly and progressively warm up. Is being sore a sign of a good workout? I don't think the level of soreness should factor much into you determining whether or not it was a quote-unquote good workout. Soreness is going to happen when we break down muscle tissue. And if we're training in a way where we're creating stimulus and response through progressive overload, if we're challenging ourselves in the gym, if we're training with a high intensity, then the likelihood that we're breaking down muscle tissue is high. The likelihood that we're going to be sore is high. Now, I think that we can use our nutrition and our peri-workout supplementation and our recovery techniques to mitigate the amount of soreness that we are experiencing. But I don't think it's a badge of honor by any means to feel like, one, if we are sore, it was an effective workout, or two, if we weren't sore, then it wasn't an effective workout. That's just, I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the muscle groups trained. I think it depends on the volume. And we absolutely should not be trying to do more and more volume as a means to get sore just so we can justify it being a good workout. Muscle soreness, sweating, out of breath, God forbid we're puking during a session, laying on the floor comatose, can't move the next day. None of those are good signs of an effective workout. An effective workout will be appropriate to the individual, to the movement patterns that they're capable of doing, that will allow them to progress from one workout to the next, one phase to the next, will carry over towards whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish, whether it's sport performance, whether it's physical function, whether it's body composition change, and that's all there is to it. And so we need to move away from what we think we need to be experiencing during a workout and instead zooming out and really looking at the big picture of how am I changing and progressing over time. Well, there you have it. That's it for this episode of the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. If you have questions that you'd like us to tackle in an upcoming episode, then we can't wait to hear from you. So you can submit your questions directly by just messaging us on our social media. That's at Body Systems Coaching, or you can just message me personally, ben@bodysystems.com. Appreciate you guys listening, and I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. And if you found this content valuable, here are 4 ways I can help you in your nutrition journey for free. 1. Grab a free copy of my Fat Loss Fix Guide at fatlossfixguide.com. 2. Join my free group at smartnutritionmadesimple.com. 3. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at smartnutritionmadesimpletv.com. 4. Leave a 5-star rating and positive review so that we can gain access to more nutrition experts ready to share their knowledge with you and ultimately help more people make smart nutrition simple.